Hello, hello, good afternoon to everyone. I hope you are doing well this afternoon. It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in Houston, Texas for me. I hope it is wherever you are. I cannot believe we have made it to May already. It seems like we were just in January, but maybe that's just me. But hello to everyone who is here. Hello to all of you on Facebook. I see you. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Sharonda. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Pastor D. So good to see you all. Listen, I'm going to jump right in. Facebook folks, if you are on, go ahead and drop something in the comments and let me know where you are watching from. Today's going to be, I want to say, a little bit of a different conversation, just in that it's probably not what everyone is thinking when I talk about. I think when I initially said we're going to talk about Mother's Day, but today on our live at 5, we're going to be talking about when Mother's Day isn't so happy. And the reality that for a lot of people, for many people that I know, and I have certainly been in this space myself in the past few years, thankfully have gotten to a different place to be able to see some joy in Mother's Day. But I really want to talk today to the people who are not really looking forward to the next couple of weeks and being bombarded with Mother's Day messages and seeing commercials and walking in the store and seeing cars and the balloons. And if where you live, people on the corner at the grocery store selling all sorts of gifts. I want to talk to those people today. I want to talk to people who may be dealing with the reality of loss. Their mother has passed away. The mother is no longer physically here with them. And that still brings a tremendous amount of pain, whether this is year 1 for you, whether this is year 2, whether this is year 22. And so you may not be looking forward to Mother's Day. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the individuals who perhaps you have lost a child, whether that has been through miscarriage, whether that was in childbirth, or whether that was at some other point after the child was born. And for you, Mother's Day is extremely painful. I want to talk to you today. I want to talk to the women who perhaps you have desperately wanted to conceive a child and you haven't been able to do that for whatever reason. You have not been able to conceive that child. And so for you, Mother's Day is painful. I want to talk to the mother who maybe you made the difficult decision to give your child away. Perhaps you decided that you were not in a place to keep that child. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to those of you who maybe your mother is still here, but maybe she's in a different season of life. Perhaps she's dealing with a very serious illness. Perhaps she's dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia, those sorts of diseases that take the life away from your mother while she is still here. And so maybe you are grieving the loss of her while she's still here. I want to talk to you today. And what I want to say to you, first and foremost, above anything, I want to encourage you and let you know that you are not alone. I just rattled off 4 or 5 different categories of women, and you may fall into any one of those categories. You may multiple of those categories, but I want to encourage you today and let you know that you are not alone. That is number one. The other thing I want to do is I want to give you some tips to hopefully help you manage the next couple of weeks, to help you get through the next couple of weeks. Like I said, when we're going to be bombarded with the marketing of Mother's Day, as with all the holidays that we celebrate, you all know that it's a marketing engine. And so I want to try to help you get through that as unscathed as possible, but I also want to give you can help you take back some control of that as well. So we're going to talk through, I'm going to give you about 10 tips. This is usually longer than we stay on. I usually break them up and do 5 and 5, but I think it's important to give all of them to you today as we move into the next couple of weeks. So the first one that I want to give you, number 1 on the list, is let yourself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. What do I mean by that? Get rid of all the shoulds, the oughts, the have tos, all of those absolutes that you may be putting on yourself about what you should do, what you have to do, what you can't do, what you shouldn't do because of someone else. Take that off the table and let yourself off the hook. That is number one. Number two on the list, give yourself permission to experience the range of emotions that may come. Here's what I mean. I want to tell you that it is okay for you to feel whatever you are feeling. It is also okay that you don't feel whatever you're not feeling. So, in other words, wherever you are emotionally during period of time during this season is absolutely okay, and give yourself permission to experience whatever that range of emotion is. And that goes right in line with number one, which was let yourself off the hook. So in letting yourself off the hook, let yourself off the hook for thinking and feel that you should feel a certain way, or you shouldn't feel a certain way, or you have to feel a certain way, or you can't feel a certain way. Let yourself off the hook, number one. And number two, give yourself permission to experience the range of emotions that will come. Because here's the reality. We're talking about difficult stuff. We're talking about the hurt that is very real, that is painful, and is very real. Depending on, it doesn't matter what bucket you fall into, the ones that I listed when we got started, doesn't matter where you fit in there. The reality is it hurts. And so allow yourself to feel that, allow yourself to experience that, and don't complicate this season by trying to hold and restrain yourself from feeling what you're feeling. You have to allow those emotions to come out. All right. Number three, and I think this one is very, very important. I talk about this a lot when I'm talking about holidays in general, but number three is, which is also why we're doing this today, plan ahead. As best as you can, as much as possible, plan how you want to spend your Mother's Day. If you can sit down, whether it's today, tomorrow, or maybe in the next day or so, sit down and think about how you want to spend your Mother's Day. If there's a tradition in your family that everyone is at one person's house and you don't feel like you can endure that this year, don't do it. But plan ahead. What is it that you think at this point? And it can be difficult because you may not know. The reality is you may not know how you're going to be feeling on Mother's Day, and that's okay. But try to have a contingency plan in place. If for you, you know that crowds during this time typically don't sit well with you, don't plan to be in a crowd of folks. If you know that being by yourself or doesn't sit well with you, don't plan to be by yourself. Plan to put yourself in the space where there are going to be a number of other people. Here's what this does. It allows you to take back some control of what has been and what is a situation that is completely out of your control. It allows you to plan for that and give yourself some semblance of control. So do you want to travel for Mother's Day? If you want to travel, do you want to be on a plane in the airport? Do you want to be in a car? Try to think through all of those things based on where you are, what your situation is, and what you believe is going to give you the best opportunity to spend the day in a way that allows you to be true to yourself, to honor your own feelings and your own emotions, and to honor whatever Mother's Day means to you now. Because it may mean something very, very different than perhaps it did last year or 2 years ago or 5 or 10 years ago. So plan ahead. That's number three. Number four, communicate your needs to the people closest to you and don't apologize. So going back to what we talked about, number one, let yourself off the hook, give yourself permission to experience a range of emotions and plan ahead. Communicate that to the people in your life, whether that's your spouse, whether that's your boyfriend, whether that's your children, whether that's aunts, cousins, whatever that looks like. Communicate what it is that you need to those people that are closest to you. Now, I put a caveat there and said the people that are closest to you. I'm going to add another caveat there because this is something else that I talk about. The people who are going to understand what you are saying. And even if they don't understand, they're going to honor and respect what you have said to them. So give yourself permission to experience what you're experiencing. That was number 2, but we're on number 4 now. Communicate your needs to the people that are closest to you and don't apologize. So if the plan has been in the past that you spend time at, I'm going to just say, at Aunt Shirley's house, and everybody is at Aunt Shirley's house for Mother's Day, and this year you just don't think you can do that, communicate that to the people closest to you. Understand that you may very well get some pushback, and that's okay. But you don't have to apologize for your feelings and saying that I really don't think I can do a big crowd this year. I think I'm going to just stay home and hang out with a couple of people. Or I think I'm going to just go to brunch with a friend. Or I think I'm going to just go and watch the game with my brother. Whatever that is. So again, communicate that to the people that are closest to you and don't feel like you have to apologize. All right. That was number 4. Number 5. Set boundaries with the people who are not helpful. So that falls right in line with number 4, which we said was communicating your needs. Number 5 is set boundaries and set them with people who are not helpful. Listen, the unfortunate truth is, I say this all the time. If you have listened to me teach at all, you've heard me say, everyone can't handle the weight of your story, the weight of your pain, the weight of your situation. And that's okay. What you have to do is set boundaries with those people. Goes back to part 2 of number 4, which is not apologizing, making plans, being okay with saying no, being okay with saying yes to the things that you can say yes to, but also setting boundaries and not feeling as though you have to push yourself beyond those boundaries if it is going to cause you to feel more emotional pain and more emotional distress. And listen, there's a way to do that that doesn't have to cause an argument. I always say this, you don't have to fall out with people. It doesn't have to become a big deal. You are simply expressing what it is that you feel and what it is that you need, and you are sticking to that boundary. All right. So I'm going to go back through the first 5 that we talked about. For the folks who just popped on Facebook, thanks so much for joining. So number 1, we said was let yourself off the hook. Number 2, we said give yourself permission to feel the range of emotions that are likely going to come. Number 3, plan ahead. That is huge. Plan ahead. 4, we said communicate your needs. Communicate your needs to the people that are closest to you. And then 5, we just said set boundaries, particularly with people that are around you who aren't supportive, who are not helpful, and may not have your best interest at heart. Okay, so that's the first 5. All right, let's keep rolling, because again, what we're talking about today is when Mother's Day isn't so happy. I'm giving you some tips and some tools to help you over the next couple of weeks when Mother's Day is a season for you that can be exceedingly difficult for a number of different reasons. And we listed those, whether that means your mother has passed away, whether that is your mother is in a season where she is declining and she is not able to engage with you as the woman that you once knew her to be, whether that means that you are a mother who's lost a child and you are not feeling happy on Mother's Day, whether you're a woman who has not been able to bear a child, you've not been able to, and that's something that you desperately want. And so Mother's Day isn't happy for you. So we went over several of those categories that you may fall into. And we're talking about how you can make it through this season when you're going to be bombarded with seeing cards in the grocery store. You're going to be seeing balloons. You're going to see the commercials, all the things. How do you get through it? So those were the first 5 that we talked about. Okay. Number 6, I think this can be very helpful and is really important for a lot of people. Consider writing a letter. I think in any of these cases, but particularly if your mother has passed away, if you are a woman who's had a child that's passed away, even if you are a woman who, and we talked about this as well, who for whatever reason has unfortunately had your children who are no longer with you, they've been taken away for whatever reason, write a letter. You don't have to send it in the case. Obviously, if your mother has passed away, if a child's passed away, you can't send it, but you can write that letter to get out whatever you may be thinking in your head and what you may be feeling in your heart that you really just want to say to them on this Mother's Day, as you think about them, as you think about what they meant to you, as you think about the things that you enjoy. That can be very, very helpful and can be can be a peace-giving moment for a lot of people. So that's something that you can also do. consider writing a letter. Now, if that's something that the thought of you hear and the thought of it makes you go, oh my goodness, no, I can't do that. No harm, no foul. You don't have to. Again, these are just options for you. Okay. Number 7, step away from social media. Again, this is another place where you are likely going to be bombarded with messages about Mother's Day. Not only are you going to get the messages, but you're going to see pictures of people posting Mother's Day messages and with their mom or with their children, all of those things that for you just may be too difficult and too painful. So consider stepping away. Take a social media break for the next couple of weeks. I promise you, when you come back, it will still be here. And aside from not having just the bombardment of Mother's Day, you're probably going to feel some extra peace because, I mean, if we're honest, we probably all need to step away from social media for a period of time from time to time. So consider stepping away from social media. All right, that's number 7. Number 8, consider volunteering. Listen, there is something very, very powerful about giving to other people, particularly during a time when you were struggling, or particularly during a time when you were really in a difficult space. So consider maybe going to a nursing home. If you're a really crafty person, which I am not, but if you are a really crafty person, consider contacting the social worker at a nursing facility or retirement home, and maybe you make some really cool gifts and crafts for the moms who are there. That may be something that you enjoy. Maybe you just stop by and visit. Perhaps you contact a school and you go and read to kids, but consider volunteering. Maybe you contact a women's home or a women's shelter where moms and children live, and you give of your time that way. Maybe you don't do it. Maybe it's not done in person, but maybe you volunteer by donating and that sort of thing. So lots of different ways for you to give of your time. And also, if you have the treasure, you can do that as well and give of your talents. Volunteering is a really, really good way to sometimes bring you out of that space of feeling, first of all, like it's only me, and also recognizing that there are people out there that still need the good and the love that you have to give. So that's number 8, consider volunteering. Number 9, check in with your therapist. If you have a therapist, this is a good time, and you haven't seen him or her in a while, this is a good time to check in with your therapist and talk through these tips that I'm giving you and others that your therapist may have to help you make it through the next couple of weeks and even beyond, because this can be a period of time. If you've been doing really well for a while, this can be a period of time that can throw you a little bit off kilter, can be a bit of a trigger for you. So this is a good time to check in with your therapist and talk honestly and earnestly about what it is that you're experiencing, what is it you're thinking, obviously in a setting that's non-judgmental and where you have the space and the support to get the help that you need. And then finally, number 10, last but certainly not least, pray. This may seem, for some people, this may seem like a no-brainer. And for some people, this actually may be difficult during this season. And I think it's important to acknowledge that and be honest about that. But I want to encourage you to pray. There truly is, I know we hear this in church all the time, but there really is power in prayer. Prayer is not going to change your situation per se. It's not going to make if your mother has passed away, prayer is not going to bring her back. If your child has passed away, prayer is not going to bring them back. What prayer is going to do, though, it is going to strengthen you to keep going another day and another day. It's also going to give you not only an opportunity for you to talk to God about what you're thinking, feeling, and experiencing, but it's also an opportunity for you to hear from Him, for you to hear Him talk to you about what you're thinking, feeling, and experiencing, and help you move through this season in a way that you are strengthened more so than you were before. So I want to encourage you not to neglect your prayer during this time, even when it seems really difficult. And I'll give you this, if you're at a spot where it's really hard for you, and just call it what it is, you may be upset with God about where this season of Mother's Day that you're in, tell Him that. And if all you have for your prayer is, Lord, help, go with that. Lord, help. Because what we know is that he knows and he understands everything that is behind, underneath, and all within that Lord help. So I want to encourage you to do that. So those are my 10 tips for you. As we are preparing for Mother's Day, those are my 10 tips for you when Mother's Day isn't so happy. So I'm going to go over those last 5 one more time. Number 6, we said, was consider writing a letter. Number 7, step away from social media. Give yourself a break for a bit. Number 8, consider volunteering. Number 9, check in with your therapist. And then number 10, we said, pray. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I know that for a lot of people, this is a difficult season. And that's why I wanted to do this live. I didn't want to talk about mothers, what you're doing, what you're going to do for your mother, and how you celebrate your mother. I wanted to talk to those of you who are honestly and earnestly struggling during this season and give you a space to acknowledge that and let you know that it's okay if that's where you are. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Feel free to send me a message, whether that's on Facebook or if that's on Instagram. Feel free to DM me there. I'm more than happy to chat with you. You can find me on all social media, of course, at Miss Cat Speaks. You have my email. It is let me pop it up here so you can see it. It is info@katherinebarner.org. You can send an email there. If you have not joined my mailing list so that you can get my monthly newsletter, make sure that you do that. So you can subscribe to the newsletter at katherinebarner.org. You can go online. I think it's on the first page. Click there, subscribe to the newsletter. You will be getting that once a month. I think the one for May should go out hopefully tomorrow or maybe the day after, still early part of May. So you'll be able to get that. But again, if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm more than happy to chat with you. I'm going to hop over to Facebook and see if we have any comments there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Doesn't look like we have anything there. So again, that's all I have for you today. For those of you who've been on, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you hanging out for these past few minutes, past 20 minutes or so with me. You know, I always say these are going to be short and sweet, not going to be on here usually not longer than about 20 minutes each. So I will see you all back here in 2 weeks for another episode of Live at 5 Matters of the Heart with myself, Katherine Barner. And also, if there are things that you want to hear me talk about, feel free to message me, DM me, or send me an email and let me know what you have on your mind, what's on your heart that you'd really like for me to talk about. And I'm more than happy to do that. All right. So listen, take care. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, but remember to take care of you while you're doing that. Use these tips to help you make it through these next couple of weeks. And I promise you will get over this hump and you will get to the other side. Take care. Bye-bye.